Hey guys, something a little different today. A couple years ago, before this channel, I created a pilot for a horror comedy podcast called Dark Hallways. I ultimately never released it publicly, but those who did listen always gave it rave reviews, and it's something I've gone back and thought about often. That's why I'm giving it to you now to listen to. If you enjoy it and want more, let me know in the comments below. I have a lot of different ideas and stories already in mind for this universe. Thanks, all.
In this world, there are things that go unexplained. Things you see out of the corner of your eye. The unknown, hidden just beyond your sight. In this world, there are dark hallways.
This is Junior Agent Liam Foster. I'm here to give our bi-weekly case report to whomever it may concern back at the Bureau. Senior Agent Higgs decided that it's time I take on this duty, so all further case reports will be done by me. And hey, if it means anything, hopefully these reports will be a little bit more organized. And now Agent Higgs is giving me the death stare. For all intents and purposes, please record my previous statement as a joke. And if I should suddenly disappear, I believe you have a good lead. Also a joke. On to the report. In terms of location, Senior Agent Higgs and I have been traveling through the Pacific Northwest. We're currently about 30 miles from Bitter Pine, Oregon. Charming little community, but also a bit strange. In fact, there seems to be quite a bit of abnormal activity going on here. Stationing some Bureau operatives here long-term might be a good idea. Additionally, Agent Higgs and I have been on the road for a while, so to make parsing this information a little easier, I've decided to separate our activity between tips, rumors, and active cases. I'll start with the tips and rumors. We're hearing reports of swordfish and Atlantic cod raining down on some nearby fishing towns. Keep in mind these are East Coast fish we're talking about. Higgs and I haven't been able to lay eyes on one of these fish, but from what I hear, there's something wrong with them. They're apparently covered in bulbous, root-like tumors and growths. Add to that, we've heard some of the fish are stuck together, literally, fused. An old fisherman was telling us one of the cod was stuck through another with the flesh merged at the intersection. Also, it was still alive. These fish have apparently been dropping pretty regularly, so Higgs and I are planning to go check them out in the next week. I know the Bureau has been dealing with fish raining down in other parts of the world for quite a while now, so I'm sure you guys know what explanations to give at this point. Considering the mutations are a bit new, hopefully the public will continue to buy that this is a completely natural phenomenon. Another rumor going around, and this is a particularly nasty one, stretching rooms. They're said to show up in urban centers, shopping malls and the like. We don't know too much, but apparently if you go in, you come out, well, stretched. In the rumors we've heard, this can range from a few inches added to your height to more extreme procedures. One thing all the rumors have in common is that it seems to be quite addicting. When someone goes in, they tend to come back. Part of me really hopes this one is just a spooky story or an urban legend, but we've heard enough stories from multiple unrelated sources now. It's probably worth looking into, but to be honest with you, I don't want to investigate this one myself.
Hey.
Hold on, Higgs is giving me the stink eye. No, I know.
No.
No. Okay. To anyone listening, I retract my previous statement. I, Junior Agent Liam Foster, will investigate the stretching rooms if necessary.
Happy?
We've got some reports on a parahuman entity in the area. An eyeless man seen across the western coast. And I mean literally eyeless. Not just empty sockets here, no eyes. Apparently, skin covers where the holes for the sockets would be. Ugh, gives me the creeps. Reports say he approaches people on beaches all across the coast. Offers to show them what's inside an old wooden box he carries. He doesn't do it for free, though. Instead, he tries to get whoever he approached to make some kind of deal. We're not really sure what the deal entails. Just that it's something important and tailored to every person. Seems he approaches people in a bad spot, people in need. Explains how he gets people to take up his offer, but regardless, it's said that the people who do tend to go howling mad. Or worse. Seems like it's worth investigating, but I don't really know how we're going to catch this guy. Unless you'd like us to start staking out every beach from here to California. That's one job I'm not opposed to. Higgs agrees. Next up, I know this technically isn't our department, strictly speaking, but somebody has to address this. I'm talking about the rats. The super rats. I swear it's like we're seeing these things in every town or city we go to, regardless of how developed they are. And speaking of size, I've seen some of these things get as large as cats. And speaking of cats, these things are starting to eat them. And small dogs, too. And look, I get that we're not pest control, but something is seriously not normal with these things. And I don't care if you've already taken some in and tested them. It's getting out of control. And hey, Higgs, wait, stop. Higgs, stop. Senior Agent Higgs has made it clear to me that my personal phobias surrounding rodents should not interfere with my case reports. Sorry about that. Finally, for tips and rumors, we have the fields of purple daisies that have been popping up. Now, I suppose purple daisies in and of themselves aren't anything for us to be worried about, but when they form fields covering several acres, and those fields pop up overnight, I feel like maybe we should take a look. Higgs and I have actually been to one of these fields. They're weird. No animals, no insects, no birds. Dead silent. Literally. If you dig just under the surface a little bit, you'll find piles of dead and rotting animal corpses. Whatever this is feels big, and I'm way out of my pay grade. I'm submitting this one to the top for immediate review. Now, before I talk about the main case that Higgs and I have been investigating for the past week, I feel like there's something I need to mention. About 2 weeks ago, Higgs and I met with Agents Henderson and Mullaney as they were headed south to the California-Nevada area. We had lunch with the agent, shared some funny stories, but to be honest with you, Agent Mullaney seemed off. He kept mentioning the doors he saw out of the corners of his eyes, doors he was seeing everywhere they went. He was sweating and darting his eyes around as he told us this. Henderson just brushed it off. In fact, it seemed like he was trying to actively get us to forget about it. Near the end of lunch, I went to the bathroom and I saw Mullaney staring at a blank wall. He started reaching his hand forward like he was about to grab something. When I called out to him, he looked at me like he was in a daze. And when he turned back at the wall, he turned white as a sheet. Henderson certainly wants us to ignore it, but, well, Higgs and I both think someone at Central should know. I get that agents are supposed to act independently of each other, but it really feels like someone is in danger of violating Rule 15. If you see a door that wasn't there before, don't open it. That rule has to exist for a reason, right? Alright, time for our main case. It all started with the letter that was addressed to me and is the whole reason Higgs and I came to the Northwest. It appears to be written by a Claire Foyer, a resident of Bitter Pine, Oregon. Now, this letter is strange, to say the least, and would be unsettling even if I wasn't named directly in it. And I'll warn you, it's a little hard to parse. I'll read it out to you and then break down our thoughts on the letter afterwards. Howdy, Liam. Long time no see, right? Sorry I haven't contacted you recently, but honestly, you could have made it a lot easier by telling me how to contact you. I had to figure it out myself, and might I point out, that isn't such an easy task in this day and age. Okay, enough hassling, but you should know I'm safe and making my way towards the crater. Not sure what I'm supposed to find there, but orders are orders, right? Maybe we can meet up soon, but I'm sure you have your hands full with the disappearing towns and the daisy fields right now. By the way, I've enclosed the enter key for my keyboard. You should be able to use it with your audiograph. At least you should if I'm remembering what you told me correctly. Let me know what you hear when you do. You can tell me the next time you see me. See you soon, Claire. So, there's the letter. By the way, if you're wondering how we knew about Bitter Pine, it was written on the outside of the letter. No specific address, though. She seems to know a great deal about the Bureau's ongoing investigations, especially the bit about the disappearing towns. Should we encounter Miss Foyer, we'll be sure to send her back to home base. Also, how Miss Foyer knows about the Bureau audiograph may be a point of concern. Higgs and I did run the enter key through the audiograph, and it yielded a positive result. I've attached those results below. And listen, it was my first time using the audiograph, so give me a break, okay? I don't need this recording making the rounds back at the Bureau. Alright, enough stalling. So I use this and I relive her memory? And you said it's just like having a dream, right?
Huh. Nope.
Don't laugh. If this thing is gonna sap my brain, I want... Wait, the circuit isn't live, is it?
Yeah.
Hey, Higgs, don't touch it yet. Higgs! Higgs! Hello, everyone. It's been a while, hasn't it? I know, consistency is key, but I've been looking into something big this time, and something potentially quite dangerous. I know internet sleuths like us tend to laugh in the face of danger, but this time I mean it. Heck, it scares me enough that under normal circumstances I wouldn't be posting about it. But, well, I need your help. Just know that by choosing to read this, you may be putting yourself at serious risk. I mean it. Still on board? Good. Now that I've got the formalities out of the way, I have a question for all of you. Have you ever heard of night friends? This same question I saw posted on a paranormal forum I frequent. An innocuous question and one that had been widely passed over, but it intrigued me. I clicked into the thread and saw that it was rather small. A few people questioning what a night friend was and what the author meant. The author was a little bit cagey, saying they simply meant someone who visited you at night and was, well, friendly. Overly so, it seems. They refused to give more details than that, saying they would only tell more to people who had night friends themselves. Look, you all know me by this point. If someone goes and dangles bait in front of me like that, of course I'm gonna need to bite. So, Claire got a night friend. I named him Roger and shot my mysterious acquaintance an email. He replied fast. Scary fast. I sent my email out and I had a response within 15 minutes. His name was Harold, and he wanted to know all about Roger. What did he look like? How often did he visit me? What would he say? You should hand it to me because I got pretty far on context clues alone. Enough to convince my contact that Roger was definitely 100% real. Then, just as it was getting good, nada. Nothing. My contact disappeared out of the blue. After a month and a half of unanswered emails, I wrote it off. I mean, from the start, it was probably bunk. This guy had indulged his weird fantasy with me and then skittered off to who knows where. That's what I thought, at least. I found a place for people like us. That subject heading accompanied a very suspicious email. An email containing a link to some .net website and a message saying, "See for yourself, Harry." Now, readers, this is not the dangerous part, but if some guy you met on the internet sends you a fishy link, don't click it, okay? Leave that to the semi-professionals like me. And in this case, what I found was the Motherlode, a place called the Night Friends Forum. It was like a whole community of people who were experiencing the same delusion. All of them, without fault, claimed to be visited in the middle of the night by people who were trying to lure them out of their homes. They called them friends because these visitors were always smiling, always happy, and never mad, no matter what. Creepy enough. But what really made my eyes light up were the rules. That's right, rules. Apparently, despite their cheerful disposition, a night friend is a very dangerous thing, and anyone unfortunate enough to have one needed to live by these rules, or else. The or else part was a bit hard to get out of people, but by the general context it didn't sound good. So now is about the time that I should list off some of those rules for you, and boy are there some whoppers. Rule 1. Never, under any circumstances, let a night friend inside your home. A night friend will try to convince you to either let them in or to come outside. Do not listen to them. Ignore them. Watch TV, listen to music. Whatever you do, keep them outside. Rule 2. Always be in your house before nightfall. Night friends only come out when it's dark. The earlier you are in your home, the better. Make sure all doors and windows are locked in advance, even ones on higher stories of your house. If, for whatever reason, you are not near your house, find an enclosed location with a lockable door. It won't work as well, but it'll be better than nothing. Rule 3. If possible, be alone at night. While the prospect of being alone with your night friend isn't an appealing proposition for anyone, if you spend the night with someone else, your night friend may follow you, or they may take an interest in the other person. This is a confirmed way that night friends can spread. Rule 4. Do not talk about night friends. Only discuss them with people you know have them. While not confirmed, we believe that night friends may spread just by being talked about. If you tell a family member or an acquaintance, they may get their own night friend, and they may not be prepared. As you can see, I've already broken Rule 4. Normally, I would have laughed this kind of thing off, but, well, it's about time I get to why I need some help. I got a night friend. It came about a month after I had joined the forum. Certainly, I had violated Rule 4. I had been milking as much information about the night friends as I could out of these people. You could make a pretty good argument that I deserved what I got. It was a Friday night. I was curled up by my fireplace reading when I heard a high-pitched barking outside my window. I pulled the curtain open and what do I see but a beagle puppy yipping and bouncing playfully on my window. To be honest, you couldn't have picked a better dog. Like, seriously, I've wanted one of these things for as long as I could remember. Oh, he even did that cute thing where they spin around in a circle and hop in excitement. It was like he was transfixed by me, or rather, I was transfixed by him. But I couldn't shake this feeling I was being pulled towards the front door. All I had to do was let him in. That's when I noticed it. The collar. The thing that made my blood run cold. The dog's name, Roger. It was like the spell broke immediately. I know it's dumb, but I even scrambled backwards like in a cartoon. I had to get away from that window, and in a second, he was gone. I blinked my eyes, and the puppy, clawing at my window, was gone. Instead, there was a fully grown man. I'd never seen him before, but he seemed familiar. He had a face you could trust.
Hey, Claire.
I immediately wanted to crawl away somewhere he couldn't see me. The way he talked, that half-whisper way people do sometimes. It felt like a thinly veiled ploy to get me to lower my guard.
I was trying to find my way in, but the door was jammed. I know you wouldn't lock me out, so could you let me in?
No way, dude. No freaking way. I know I told you he had a face you could trust, and it was true. It was like it was designed that way. But his eyes gave it away. They were dead. Despite all his friendly demeanor, there wasn't an ounce of love behind those eyes.
Come on, Claire. Don't leave me outside like this.
Screw this. I rushed to my feet and I threw the curtain over the window. For all I cared, he could stay out there, but I didn't want to have to look at those cold, hungry eyes.
Claire, don't be like that. Do you have a key out here? Maybe one under the mat.
I froze. I did, in fact, have a key hidden by my front door, one by the flower pot. I cursed myself. How could I be so stupid? Of course, who could blame me for not heeding the warnings of some internet urban legend?
So you do have one.
I could hear the leaves crunching as he walked away, and just as fast I bolted to my front door. It was locked, but I was faced with a conundrum. I could stay here and hold the door shut, or I could quickly sprint out and grab the key, but would that count as breaking the first rule? Even if it was just for a second, I didn't have a chance to decide.
I'm here, Claire. Let's see. Where did you hide that key?
I heard him rustling around out there, dragging the carpet, overturning pots and smashing them on the ground. I wanted to cry.
Found it.
A pit dropped in my stomach. No way. But when I heard the key scraping against the lock, I knew it was true. I grasped the lock and forced it shut. Not that it was easy. Whatever this thing was, it was strong. I was using every last ounce of strength I had just to keep it out.
Come on, Claire. Don't be like that.
Screw you, creep, I managed, going red in the face as I fought to keep my front door closed. But I was losing. I knew any second my strength would give out and this thing would come inside. I'd end up as a bloodstain on my carpet, or as Roger's next meal, or whatever the hell this thing wanted to do to me. Claire Foyer would disappear without a trace. The key snapped in half. That creature had snapped the key right in half, trying to open my lock, and by pushing against it, I had jammed it into the shut position. I practically shrieked with joy, all while keeping my hands firmly grasped on the lock.
I don't think I can come visit you tonight, Claire.
He sounded sad, but still hadn't lost that eerie friendliness. If this was some kind of trick, I sure as heck wasn't falling for it. I waited by the front door for 5 minutes, keeping it braced with my body the whole time. Finally, I gathered up the nerve to look through the peephole, breathing heavily as I did. He was staring straight at me, blocking the whole peephole with his sickening, stretched grin. It wanted to jump out of my skin.
Goodbye, Claire.
Just like that, he backed away and walked off into the night. What the hell had I gotten myself into? I didn't sleep well that night, or at all, really. I probably checked the lock on every door and window at least 5 times. Probably more. Can you blame me? I gave my dad a call and talked to him until dawn. When that beautiful light flooded into my room, I finally took a big sigh of relief. I was free, at least for today. I had to call a locksmith first thing in the morning, and when he gave me that extra key, I made sure not to put it outside. Roger became a regular feature of my nightlife, and I became a staunch follower of the forum's rules. It was hard to adjust at first, but eventually Roger became more of a nuisance than a threat, another part of the daily rhythms of life. Of course, people started asking why I never went out at night, and what could I tell them? I'm being haunted by some kind of supernatural entity, and if I tell you about it, it'll haunt you too? The truth was, I was alone. And that's when Becca came. My best friend since junior high school, Becca came to lift me out of my slump, and she did it after dark, of course. Somehow, up to that point, I'd managed to avoid any nightly visitors of the non-night friend variety, but Becca demanded to be let in. I know I put her in danger, but to be honest with you, I was more worried about her safety if she stayed outside. Of course, I made double sure it was Becca. I called her phone even when she was standing at the front door, made her answer questions only she could know, the whole deal. Most of all, I looked at her eyes. Roger liked to change the way he looked, but you can always tell by the eyes. I pulled her in quickly, and for the first time in a while, I didn't spend the night alone. I watched crappy romance flicks and talked with Becca about her boyfriend Mike. To be honest, I was on edge the whole time. I was just waiting for a knock on my window and that hushed, whisper-like voice, but it never came. Roger never came. Of course, there had been nights where he didn't show up before, but you could never predict them. I was thankful Becca had been spared an encounter with Roger. Of course, I was still concerned about her in the following days. I wondered a lot about Rule 3. Roger hadn't shown up that night, so did that mean there was no risk of him spreading to Becca? How could I be sure? In the end, I gave her a call every night, asked her if she had any suspicious visitors. She didn't. For a whole week, she humored me, telling me she was perfectly alone every night, perfectly safe. So was I, surprisingly. I hadn't seen hide nor hair of Roger since Becca visited. On the 8th night, it happened. Becca said someone was knocking on her window. My throat tightened. "Who is?" I asked. "Oh, it's just Mike. What does he think he's doing?" she nonchalantly replied. "Don't let him in," I yelled at her. "Why?" Why was a good question. What could I say? What could I do? Nothing, it turns out. I sat there in horror, stumbling over my words as one of my best friends brushed me off. "I have to go, Claire. I think Mike is finally ready to make up with me. I'll call you back later, okay?" "Don't go! Becca!" Those were the last pathetic words I ever said to my best friend. I tried to call her back, but no answer. I just had to wait through the night. When I rushed over to her place in the morning, I saw police all over her front lawn. Her front door had been busted open, like some huge, ferocious animal had forced its way in, and even from far away I could see the blood coating the walls of her entryway. I vomited. What else could I do? I had failed my friend, and she was dead because of it. Roger came back that night, but he had changed his shape again. He knocked on my window and called out to me. But I realized I wasn't hearing a man's voice. In fact, it was a voice I knew very well. It was Becca. I pulled open the curtain, and there she was, drenched in blood with a sickening smile.
Did you miss me?
So that brings us to now. One extra note, both Harold and the Night Friends forum have seemingly disappeared off the net. Harold isn't responding to my emails, and all his posts on other forums were deleted. I'm starting to think I've been made the butt of some cruel joke. I don't know if Harold or the other Night Friends forum members are in on it. Heck, I don't even know if they were real at this point, but I think that's besides the point now. Maybe I'm doing exactly what that thing wants by telling you all about Night Friends. But at this point, I don't care. The more of us that know, the better. Because now we can work together. Now, we can figure out what these things are and how to stop them. So, I just have one question for all of you. Does anyone here know how to kill a Night Friend? A fascinating story. If this Night Friends phenomenon is real, we should probably put someone at the Bureau on it. Personally, I'm happy with leaving my own proximity to the Night Friends as is. No way do I need one of those things following me around. Higgs and I have done the due diligence of following up on the story. There appears to be no record of a Claire Foyer living in Bitter Pine, Oregon, now or in the past. We did find a Foyer family, but there's no Claires among them. We discovered a Rebecca Hagbert in the town's recent obituaries, but she was an octogenarian who passed away in her sleep. Normally I'd write this off as fiction, but the fact that we got a response from the audiograph mixed with her seeming knowledge of me and the Bureau makes me think there's something more to this. For now, we'll submit our results to you, whoever you are at the Bureau who listens to these recordings. If Claire sends us any more letters, we'll be sure to follow up. Hopefully we can eventually find and interview her too. Some final thoughts before I sign off, and feel free to ignore them. Higgs certainly has. But the way Claire Foyer talks, the words she uses, internet, forum, I've never heard them before, at least not in the context she's using them. She talks about knowing me already like it's in the past for her, too. Look, I know we deal with a lot of crazy stuff in the Bureau, but do you guys really think time travel is possible too? This is Junior Agent Liam Foster, signing off for our bi-weekly case report. Until next time, stay safe out there.